Hi guys, welcome to our channel. We are the Audio Couple, and today Nimrod's going to do impression on some Sonus Faber floor standing loudspeakers.
Yes, indeed, and thank you for that introduction, Teresa. Yes, so guys, welcome. As Teresa stated, and today, of an impression on these more very large floor stander loudspeakers from Sonus Faber, the Italian loudspeaker manufacturer. Yes, and quite a famous loudspeaker, produced from around 1999 up until, if not mistaken, around 2006. So the Amati, of course, is part of the Homage range, and the Amati, according to the dictionary, means beloved. So yes, I think it is quite a beloved loudspeaker, because this loudspeaker actually built for itself quite a reputation. First of all, as a very musical loudspeaker, then also that is quite, or let's say almost, full range reproduction. The frequency response, or let's call it my in-room frequency response, will go down to around 24 Hertz, which is quite substantial. They don't really state any frequency response for the loudspeaker, but from the auditioning sessions, yes, I can tell you that it is quite a full range loudspeaker, and quite some solid bass extension, etc. But let's talk about that later. Let's focus a bit more on the loudspeaker and the actual design. So these loudspeakers were designed by the Italian Franco Serblin, in the late 1990s, and his aim was clear, was to produce quite a dynamic loudspeaker that doesn't compress the sound, and according to him, he wanted to produce a near full range loudspeaker. So I think it is quite near a full range, or actually a full range loudspeaker, as the bass goes down to around 24 Hertz. But we'll talk about that a bit later when we discuss the overall performance of the loudspeaker, or the perceived performance, let's call it like that. So first of all, let's look at the loudspeaker. So yes, first of all, we see the dome tweeter there at the top, and this time around it's a 28mm or 1.2 inch soft dome tweeter, followed by a mid-range driver. It's 7-inch mid-range driver. So this is actually a paper cone, but infused with carbon fiber and some titanium to give it rigidity. Quite a substantial mid-range driver at around 7-inch. And if we go then further down, it actually got two, maybe you can't see the bottom one, but they've actually got two 8.3-inch bass drivers, two of them, and according to my observation, I think it's quite a long throw type of driver. It's also basically a paper / carbon fiber infused material that gives it rigidity and strength. So basically the loudspeakers then got two bass drivers at 8.3 inches, single 7-inch mid-range driver, and then a 28mm or 1.2 inch soft dome tweeter. Basically, the leather, the front baffle that is covered in leather actually has got two functions. The first is, of course, be a gasket for the drivers, and then the other function is basically to eliminate breakup of waves on the external part of the loudspeaker. So then further to that, the only thing that I can highlight is that it's got a flute-like, or lute-like design to eliminate standing waves inside the cabinet. That is to make sure that the back wave is properly aligned to the three bass reflux ports that's situated at the back of the loudspeaker. It's quite a sturdy design, and a lot of bracing inside the cabinet to make sure that it's very solid, that there's no coloration or vibration inside the loudspeaker. Is that each loudspeaker actually has got its own chamber within the loudspeaker, and then they made use of solid maple wood at the top and the bottom of the loudspeaker, and then it's I would say almost infused with gloss or varnished with 7 layers of this varnish to give it this glass-like feeling and appearance, which is quite attractive. Then I can basically just comment that the overall design is quite neat and pleasing, and it really feels like a piece of high quality furniture instead of a loudspeaker. And then also, according to Sonus Faber, remember that this is not a loudspeaker but a musical instrument. So just for the guys out there that would have forgot, Sonus Faber referred to their loudspeakers as musical instruments and not really loudspeakers as we would put it. What is my sound impressions of these loudspeakers? I think first of all is the word that will come up very musical. I think that they are definitely dynamic loudspeakers. They're also full-bodied. Did they basically achieve their original design criteria? Yes, I would definitely say so. It's quite a bold loudspeaker, very efficient at 92 dB watt per meter efficiency. So you can easily drive it. I would say, look, they recommend from the specifications between 30 and 300 watt power amplifiers that will work great with these loudspeakers. But I would say you need from around 120 watt up to drive these loudspeakers, but yeah, they're quite efficient. It's not huge power amps that you'll need to get good performance from these loudspeakers, so that's also maybe a plus. And then regarding the low extension to around 24 Hertz, yes, I definitely think they they can produce bass quite accurately, also down to that levels, and a very solid feel to its to its bass and mid bass. And then this combination is just let's call it close to perfect. What I mean by that is the way that it actually projects sound, but also the musical nature of this combination of the two, the mid-range and the tweeter. Although there's excellent integration, I would say part of this loudspeaker is more about the weight and the bass, and then the other part is more of the openness of the mid-range and the musicality of these two, the tweeter and the mid-range, working together, that produce a beautiful musical sound with a lot of weight that is full-bodied. And this is how I can explain these loudspeakers. Maybe, I don't know, Teresa, maybe if you've also got some words for it, but I think, this is more like a piece of art than, or a part of furniture, than really a loudspeaker, because, yes, it's just a pleasing design, the overall look and feel, the masterful, let's call it blend of the two different materials, the wood and the leather inlays, the type of connectors that they've chosen at the back. And I would say almost a classical type of design. What I mean, it will never go out of fashion. As stated, I think these loudspeakers are actually the year 2000 models, and it's number 360 for the year. But still, I mean, look at it. It still looks like a modern loudspeaker, so it's got this classical design to it, quite nice lines. And then a lot of these things are not just a lot of these things were not just done to make the loudspeaker more aesthetically pleasing, but it also had an impact on the sound. And yes, I think that all of these contributing factors, the actual overall design, the lute type design, the solid construction, the lever in the front, and then the use of 3 ports, which is quite strange. They've got 2 bigger ports at the lower part of the enclosure, and then a smaller port at the top. I think everything is not, is contributing to an excellent loudspeaker. Is it really, would I say it's in my top 5? Definitely. I think it's a loudspeaker to go for. And what I've noticed in the second-hand market, these loudspeakers go for around 7,000 US, or in South Africa just over about 100,000 Rand. And for that, you can buy quite a substantial loudspeaker, and I would say a work of art that can last you for many more years, not just about the modern classic, let's call it, look of these loudspeakers, but also because of the performance. It's an excellent designed loudspeaker, overall integration, and then the way that it actually reproduces music. It's definitely then, I would say, a musical instrument. And we enjoyed our time with it, myself and Teresa, and a lot of times it will actually make you play a song again because you heard something new in the recording that you never heard before, and that is, I think, because of the quite a lot of detail in the loudspeaker, and also the excellent, let's call it, integration of these 2 drivers that causes a very extended and musical high frequency to low frequency mid-range response. But yeah, I don't know if you had something to add, Teresa. I think you also mentioned that it's a beautiful loudspeaker. It's an excellent use of materials, and then just it's aesthetically pleasing overall. But guys, I think that's us then this week, the audio couple. Thank you for joining us, and we really appreciate your support. If you like our videos, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of our videos, please subscribe, and if you want to get notifications, hit the bell. But guys, that's us then, Nimrod and Teresa, the audio couple. Cheers.